All right, so hello everyone. It's the first video on the channel. And really kicking off, hitting it deep, huh? So yeah, it's like about January 16th, and I've just turned 18 in the very last few days of last year, which would be 2025. And when New Year struck me, I went on like this hangout with my best friend and his girlfriend, and it wasn't like a third wheel kind of situation, because I knew how to make things not awkward. Me and her are like friends independently from her just being his girlfriend too. So it wasn't awkward or anything like that. But during the New Year fireworks, they wanted to do like a New Year kiss. They wanted me to record for them, which being a good friend, wanted to be a good friend, I actually did. And I didn't feel jealous or anything like that. But it just got me to reflect, like, man, I turned 18. I'm not minor anymore. And I've never really experienced, real love ever in my life. Yeah, yeah, I've had crushes, but none of them has been reciprocated. It's been a tragic tale, really. All the crush I've had were either like back in the period of time where I'm really not particularly proud of myself, or just, you know, I've been. I think she tried to like get me to like her, and then reject me. Though I'm not sure. Just seems to be that's how it seems. Because as far as I can remember, the first crush I had was during secondary school or middle school, and it was like for 4 years. I'm pretty sure from sixth grade to ninth grade, from the beginning of sixth grade to the end of ninth grade. So like yeah, probably for 3 years. And oh shit, found a canoe. And that was just a time where I'm very not proud of myself. I was constantly making a fool out of myself. Was just trying to have fun in life, I guess you could say. It just really didn't work out too well. It wasn't particularly cool to just act like a goofball most of the time. So that didn't work out too well. And I held in. I really thought I had a chance with her for the entire 4 years of me just not doing anything whatsoever for her to notice me. Me just hopelessly thinking that, yeah, she'll like me someday. She, she did not. She just never did. And then high school came. Shit, anyway, high school came, and then I got into this band because I play guitar. And there was this girl in that band. She was very beautiful. To this day, I think she is some of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my life. That was just how much she captivated me. Not not to mention, in addition to that, she was also very like let's say knowledgeable back then on what her hobbies are. Cause she liked music just like me. And I remember, just texting her for hours constantly, and she would reciprocate back too. It wasn't like a one-sided conversation. We just text each other for hours and then talk about our hobbies, our lives. One time we even called from like 12 a.m. to like 4 a.m. in the morning. I woke up at 6, so I was extremely sleep deprived. But in no way was I regretting any of that ever. Thinking back on it now, I still don't regret it because it's a good experience to have. It was a very heart throbbing experience for me. Got butterflies in my stomach and shit like that. Even if she did end up, uh, but just lay out of context, it went like that. Just kept texting back and forth until the end of year 10, where she would say that she moved to Germany. So me just wanting to, get it out of my chest, I thought I should like at least confess to her. It's only fair that she know my feelings. And I kind of already guessed I was gonna be rejected anyway, so but it didn't matter much because oh wow, it didn't matter much because well she was gonna go to Germany anyway, probably wouldn't work out, And well, to my surprise, she actually rejected me, which I was totally prepared for. She had the speech that people just usually say when they reject people without wanting to hurt them too much. I'm sorry, but circumstances just not in right now. Moving to Germany, which are completely understandable. These are very fair concerns, and I left away feeling like, yeah, I got rejected, but well, that's just kind of how life goes, I guess. Not everyone I like is gonna like me back, and that's just okay. Coming to find out, like 2 days later, she got a boyfriend, and I remember her kind of like documenting it to me because she was hanging out with her old school's friend before she left, and like shit, that's a low item. She wanted to hang out with her folks before she left, and then she was all like, "Who are you?" She was like, "No, this guy's like wanting to take me home. I don't really wanna." I don't know why she felt like she had to assure me that she's not quote unquote cheating on me or anything. But I was suspicious. But because she said she didn't have the intention of dating anyone at the time she's moving to Germany, I was kind of assured, that nothing's gonna come out of it. Well, it did. She got herself a boyfriend, and I oh, I felt kind of cocked at the time because, well, I get it. I got rejected fair and square, but it's also she also gave me a very false sense of confidence in that it's not because of me. That's why she's not dating me. She made it seem like it's because of the circumstances that she's moving to Germany that she's not dating it. Otherwise, she would have dated me. I don't know if I'm just being very biased here, but that's just how it seemed to me, even now. So maybe you guys have different opinions on that. But anyway, yeah. So that ends about year 10. Then year 11 and 12, I wasn't really fixated on anyone. My class was small. We had like 8 people in year 11. And then year 12, we had 12 people. No, we had like, we had, in year 12, we had 7 people, so even less than before. So it just kind of sucked. So I didn't have my eyes fixated on anyone, really. And that's how year 12 passed. And now I'm just, I'm in university. Well, not yet, but I will be in university. And it just kind of made me reflect before I move to study abroad, like I'm gonna leave this country without ever having experienced at least a teenage love. And I'm kind of sad about it. I'm not like bawling my eye over being become all depressed and shit over that, but it's more like a shucks, man. I really what a bummer. I really had any girlfriend or anything like that, and I'm gonna move to study. Jesus, that is a lucky drop. All right, maybe not so lucky. Okay, yeah, maybe not so lucky. And made me reflect like what went wrong? How come everyone I knew had a girlfriend or a boyfriend at some point, but not me? It just kind of led to me coming down to the ability to distinguish between the self appearance, like the appearance you have to yourself and the appearance you have to other people. Like, oh shit, I may not have. Oh, what is it? I may not have been so single had I actually, made effort back then to put up a kind of a cool appearance for people, and because back in middle school, I was a dork, I was just spamming all the anime quotes. I was the kind of kid that would dress up as Naruto and just went down Datenbayo shit like that. But actually didn't do it, but I bet I would have had I given had I been given the opportunity. So basically like that because that to me that brought out as fun and funny at the time. And to be frank, she did find me funny. A lot of people found me funny, but just a kind of goofy funny that you want to clown, not necessarily a boyfriend who has a sense of humor. I think that's just how it went for me in throughout my life. And then in year 10, it also came back to that thing of being real to myself and also having an appearance in front of other people. Because I didn't care at all about taking care of my appearance. My hair was flat and it was long too, so it just sat on top of my face, and it looked like it looked like I have a big ass forehead. Even though that's kind of true, you know, but it kind of made me look like I'm balding or something. I didn't care for those things. I didn't care for appearance at all because I used to have the mindset of like, well, if things I might not meet anyone now, but anyone that I do meet, they will be like they will see me for who I am and they'll realize what a diamond in the rough I am. That was a kind of egotistic way of going about it, and so you know I've started to shred that kind of thinking in year 11. Started to work on myself, my appearance. Year 12, and now sitting right here, I've come to the conclusion. People always say that love is about change, but how much is one really to put in that change? Because there comes a balance again between two kind of opposing forces, I'd say, in love. Not that I know anything about love. I've been single all my life. But yeah, there's two sources, two duality. There's a duality in here. It's between a willingness to change versus an acceptance of a person for who they are. And I think it's really important to distinguish when to do what. Because first impressions are important, even if they're not, everything. People emphasize on the importance of first impressions all the time, That's how you get people to even recognize that you're in the same room as them, I bet. And so that comes the appearance part. You gotta put enough effort into making people recognize you that they wouldn't be, turned off by you as a weirdo or anything like that. But then once you get comfortable with that person, you also want to let them know that, this is who I am, kind of. And see if they're willing to accept that. If they're not, shucks, Maybe, maybe this one's just not it. Yeah, you stand up, you dust it off, and you move on. Because, well, if this person isn't willing to accept you for who you are, even after the changes you've made to yourself to become so socially normal, I guess that's the way I put it. So yeah, even if they won't accept you for who you are, even when you've already changed so much, well, you're just not naturally compatible, I guess. So yeah, I guess that's my advice, coming from a guy who's still single even after graduating from being a minor and still don't have a girlfriend. You know, that's the best I can say from an inexperienced standpoint. Strive to compromise between your the yourself that you cannot that you don't want to change and keeping up an appearance for the person that you want to impress. Because, well, there's just two sides of things, I guess. People will accept you for who you are if you slowly expose them to that side of you. First, you gotta make sure that you're presentable first, then people will hear you out. That's kind of about it for what I have to say. Man, I've really been went on rambling. First video, and I'm already talking about this shit.